everyone, Eric Watson here, freelance writer, player of games, writer of words, recorder of videos, and tabletop role-playing aficionado. Welcome to the Monday edition of my bi-weekly behind-the-scenes DM-only live stream of Crafting the Deep, in which I build, write, and prepare for our next session of Call from the Deep. If you're playing characters Gottwald, Max Sabra, or Twirl, this stream is not meant for you, because it will be full of spoilers. The rest of you, of course, are welcome. We stream our D&D sessions live on YouTube every Friday. You can join our official Discord server with invite link in the description below. If you would like to support the channel, please check out patreon.com/RogueWatson for our campaign. We use Roll20. For streaming, I use OBS Studio. Yeah, Sylvan, congrats to the Niners. Honestly, I just feel really bad for Detroit. Like, what an epic fucking collapse in the second half. Holy crap. To be up, what that's like 24-7, I think, one at halftime. Like, my goodness. That's just, it makes me feel sick to my stomach. I can't even imagine watching that kind of epic collapse on there. I mean, I guess I wish the Cowboys would have even gotten that chance, but goodness sake. So congrats to your Niners. Clearly persevered, but man, I was rooting for the underdogs, I gotta admit, and it does not get much more underdoggy than the Detroit Lions. Also, I just think a Chiefs-Niners Super Bowl seems super boring. There's not, I don't know, they're both really good teams, so it wasn't, from a completely outsider perspective that no longer has any dog in the fight, I don't know, it just not the most interesting thing, but you know, I'll root for the Niners, I guess, for you. Good luck against Mahomes. Good luck against Mahomes, Kelsey, and Taylor Swift, because I would not bet against Taylor Swift. Yikes. Anyway, we're talking about Call from the Deep, Neverwinter specifically, and we need to talk about a big change here, because you know, we talked about last Thursday trying to put together an encounter, because I liked the idea, which is scripted. Where is it? Under Attack on Neverwinter, where this ghost ship makes its way up the Neverwinter River. It summons a bunch of undead to kind of slow the party down as they have to deal with the undead through the city streets, and then that allows the pirates to get ahead of them. And by the time the players arrive at the dungeon location they're going to, which they have no idea what this pirate crew, it's all just a big surprise for them, then they'll find the undead pirates already in the middle of this big battle. However, I think what I want to change is I do not want to throw the players into yet another combat encounter. And I think I mentioned some of my misgivings about doing that last week, but especially after the nothing but combat session we had this last Friday, I just don't think anybody has the fortitude or the patience for it, even though we all love combat and everything. But we've had 2 sessions now of almost nothing but combat, and I don't know, the players, I mean, they're not going to get a chance to long rest. They've short rested once. They'll get another chance to short rest, hopefully. Again, it only takes like 5 minutes. This one will really get taking advantage of that whole system, and I'm glad for it, because they need that. So they should be able to short rest again at some point en route, hopefully to the undead or something. I'll allow it, basically allow them to catch their breath for a second and short rest, because I mean, they have Savra's like downed, like literally 0 hit points. And then Mac and Gottwald are both at half hit points. Twirl wasn't here last week, so he's actually good to go. But everybody else is in dire need of a recuperation. So and the last thing to do to throw at them before they get to a dungeon is an encounter. And normally it's a good thing to do, because you can soften them up. You can include that as part of the adventuring day. You know, it can add to the theme of whatever's going on. Like, I like generally whenever I read like adventures and they throw, you know, a thematic encounter along the road to the bigger dungeon crawl area. That's totally fine. But in this case, and this is what this would be, so I was on board for it initially, but now I'm thinking, well, shit, I just don't think it would go over very well. Now, we can talk about how maybe I could still try and do it like a skill challenge situation, but even I'm wrapping my head around, once I start describing like zombies in the streets, I think the players are like, okay, well, let's go fight those zombies. So maybe I have to do something else where it's like some other thing they can use skill challenges for, or just make it a weird chase sequence maybe, but they're slowed down by the necromantic aura somehow, and I don't know, something should happen, or maybe it just takes them a while and they just I don't know, where I just describe it cinematically. I'm still workshopping it, but now I'm less enthusiastic about, for example, putting a map together, throwing together an actual encounter, something that involves combat or even encourages combat, because we've had so much of that right now, and honestly the players need a break. So I feel like if this were the cinematic moment of a movie, you know, after this moment, now they have to go chase these. This will be like the slower time where the party gets a chance to, like, okay, go through the streets. They're hiding. They're catching their breath. You know, maybe they're like stealthing or something, but they're not actually like in active combat until they get to this next destination. I think that's just important pacing wise. So let me know your thoughts on all that, because this is a big change for me. I was initially on board, and we even talked about a bunch of different undead we were looking at, you know, all to service throwing another combat encounter at them. But now I'm thinking that's just not the way to go. Oh, Lumpy. Lapsing in second half traditionally their thing. It's sad, man. That's got to be one of the worst postseason collapses I've ever seen. One of the worst like quarters of football for one team to have everything go wrong. We'll go skill challenge. Work well for a chase navigation through the town to catch up to the ship. Matt can use just remember alleyways to use religion, and somehow his patron guides him. I was going to do that. I literally had it written down in my notes about him getting like a little bit of a tease, a pull into the city, but obviously Reese wasn't here, so there wasn't any point doing that. But I do plan on having some kind of message from the Aboleth going out. And between you and me, I'm still not quite sure. I'll need to figure it out. Probably by the end of next session, if the Aboleth is the one who is actually their patron all along, or if it's just somebody who is an opportunist who is contacting Toril and, you know, can offer them some information or something, depending on how much of a twist I want to make it. I guess the tricky thing for me and my group is that we're not very experienced when it comes to skill challenges. None of us, as any of us who have been DMs before, I guess mainly me and Chris, have never really employed skill challenges too much. And I think it works best if I guess I just kind of leave it open-ended, really. And maybe just kind of see where the players go with it, but just add skill checks to it. I think the problem with me looking at a skill challenge is I keep thinking, well, we like enter skill challenge mode, and now, all right, tell me what you're doing. Tell me what you're doing. And I think that gets awkward for my players versus like me saying, okay, we got to chase after these guys, and then let the players kind of describe like, okay, well, we're going to get on our ship at first, but then I explain like, well, your ship can't really, like this, the ghost ship could make it through here, but normal ships can't make it through the river. It'll be, you know, you'll be beached at some point, let alone can't make it past the stone bridge. They'll have to get off and actually go through the streets. Weirdly, there's not... The other thing is, the skill challenge works well if there's... I guess if there's some kind of danger afoot, I think. Like an environmental thing, maybe, or some kind of tense moment. But here, they're kind of leaving all the bad stuff behind. The only thing they're chasing after is this ghost ship. Now, the ghost ship, I could manufacture things, but they have to be things that can't be solved via combat. So I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out necessarily. Maybe I don't know, maybe it's making people just get really scared and you have to calm people down, or I don't know, people are already being... I assume at this point, all the fighting is at the harbor, so anybody in town would just be like... Well, it'd be the equivalent of if there was some kind of big, like, I guess groups of gawkers, right? It would be like people standing around and being irresponsible as people do. So maybe we could come up with something like that. But I can write some notes down for myself in terms of what things. But for example, I don't plan on throwing... I guess the problem I'm getting at is I don't have any complications to throw at the players while they're trying to go along here. And that's what I need to come up with in terms of the... something to do with this necromantic aura. Just says, necromantic aura of the ship animates 20 zombies who shuffle through the streets, threatening the students of Neverwinter. But I can't, if I do that, and just, my fear is that if I literally just do that, and I say, okay, you're chasing along, but all of a sudden all these zombies are spawned from this necromantic aura, the players will be like, all right, well, we fight the zombie. Even if I throw like, oh, well, then, okay, I guess I could do a weird thing we haven't done before, where I just say, okay, well, you know, your character runs up and, you know, give me an attack roll. And they're like, okay, are we not in combat? And then, all right, you stab that zombie and kill him. And then what do you do? And they're all like, wait, what is going on? Are we... Oh, I have a good audio for this. Hang on. I made a audio, soundboard, this one.
Are we still playing D&D?
And that's the question they ask, basically. So yeah, I guess that's the concerns I have. And maybe I'm just overly anxious about it. You see, I've been doing this for years and I'm still anxious about it, even with the same group for years and years. Go through the sewers. That always, we have not had, have we ever had to go through sewers in a D&D campaign before? Talk about a bingo card thing that I don't know if we've ever actually tackled. It seems like such a classic trope in dungeon crawling. Like, how many dungeon crawl tile sets are sewers of like fantasy adventures? I'm trying to think if it's ever, I mean, it must have, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. Still use your undead plans. Make the skill challenge modify the combat, except if they succeed highly, they gain. NPC healer archer failed hard. They are an undead. Yeah, I guess that's the weird thing, is how do I turn combat into a skill challenge without the players being like, all right, this is weird. And I guess the idea is there's not really a, is there a failed state? Because once you create a skill challenge, you have to come up with a grading scale of like, well, what are the benefits and what are the drawbacks to this thing? And then I risk damaging their already very limited resources, which is my other main concern of not making this a standard combat encounter, is I am legit worried about their adventuring day resources. They're level 5, but they've had 4 combat encounters so far, and the 4th one lasted an entire session. They've short rested once, they're going to have to short rest again, and we're getting into an entire dungeon crawl, folks. And that's what I really want to talk about also. We still need to workshop what we're going to do on the way to the dungeon crawl, but for sure, for the purposes of crafting, we can definitely talk about the upcoming dungeon crawl, and maybe that will help modify how this is going. But I want to run this dungeon crawl pretty close to as written, and we need to make sure they have the resources for it. Did Sewers and Storm King's Thunder? I need to cite like precedent for that, James. I believe you, but I honestly don't remember. I was thinking it must have been a Chris one, because I don't remember one specifically that I did that I was running Sewers. I can't. Well, you know what? Was there an Aboleth? It might have been another Aboleth encounter, which is funny because we're about to talk about that. I'm thinking maybe like Yartar or something. So now it is coming back to me. Good lord, that must have been like 5 or 6 years ago that we did Storm Kings. Good times. It makes me so happy that you can remember that. The mayor's a follower of the Aboleth in case you want to insert him as a communication agent. I don't know how much I want to use that, actually. I know we had to look at all these undead on the GM layer, but it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. We can describe things happening, but the more we describe monster stuff happening, I just feel like the players are like, all right, well, it's combat time again. Like, no, I don't necessarily want to do combat here, folks. By the way, good map alert. I cannot provide a link because it's literally, I found this on Discord, but I can shout out to the, what is it? It's the Ghosts of Saltmarsh official, or not official. I don't know. I guess these Discord channels aren't official. I'm not sure if they're official or not, actually. But it's a Ghosts of Saltmarsh Discord channel, and within that channel they have a Call from the Deep like sub channels, or sorry, Call from the Deep server, and then within that they have Call from the Deep channels, and then one of those channels is maps and art. So within all of those, I've found, I think, a couple of my maps. Now they're probably shared on like Reddit and other areas as well, but this one specifically is by user GNUCHAN, Nuchan. And it is a beautiful rendition of the House of Knowledge done in Dungeon Draft and GIMP with crosshead assets. So shout out to Nuchan in the Call from the Deep, within the Ghosts of Saltmarsh Discord server, within the Call from the Deep channel. A really great resource for all of your map, token, and just informational needs from there. I did have to resize the map, which took me a hot second, but I've been doing that for years, so it's not too bad. And I think if it's the right size, we can literally even borrow all the dynamic lighting, I think. And the although I can't really use all these tokens. How many tokens here do not have art on them? Basic skeletons, basic Kuatoas. Family's Dungeon's full of Kuatoas. I'm going to try to copy and paste the lighting. I'm sure this will go perfectly without any problems. That's true, Mac in the sewers. He always makes fucking cracks about this. I love the idea of the like the rat folk, like Master Splinter being the one that gets kidnapped. That's fucking hysterical. All right, if we can move it, move it. Oh, is it close? This is hopefully this isn't all one piece. It might be. That's pretty close. Oh, that one's different. Dang. Ah, that's the only area. All right, is this all one piece? A good chunk of it is. All right, we'll have to redo some of it. It's all right. It is pretty close though. But I'm pretty stoked about how this map looks, I think. Let's keep drawing the wall. Let's go down here. Much better than the, and yeah, this is unfortunately the part of the campaign is I gotta redo all the maps for both the Ghosts of Salt Marsh and Call from the Deep. Neither of them have good virtual tabletop ready maps. It's a bummer. Let's go there and there. I'm just going to have to end up redoing a lot of this, I think. Well, that should be fine. It's just a big wall. Can I move this? I could actually stretch it out a little bit. At that point, it's just more work. Stretching. All right, close enough. Close enough. Then we need to draw around here. I need to upload the Baldur's Gate 3 session. I haven't done that yet, have I? At least for patrons. We ran into some fucking nasty bugs that hopefully are somewhat entertaining but also frustrating to watch because I kept it all in unedited raw. All of our frustration with some pretty bad bugs with Baldur's Gate 3, unfortunately. I won't spoil anything here. Let's do a giant rock. There we go. That rock's in the water. I don't think that should do. Why is that bumped out right there? Ugh. Well, we can just go over it, which we will. Let's create another line. It's gonna look like there's a secret door there, and it's just, nope, just stupid. Stupid map didn't quite fit the lighting. I'm looking at Gift Horse right in the mouth, I realized too. This beautiful, awesome map, and I'm just bitching about having to make like slightly different lighting edits. How dare you not conform? And I'm the one that resized it, so I can't even complain that much. I don't know what that's doing there. It's a doorway. See that as being a sight blocker. I can go there. That one's fine. Okay. So I think everything else fits. What I could do is drag. Let's see these things. Oh, can I still copy if they're locked? Ugh. Lock position. I don't need to be locked. I guess I don't accidentally click on them normally, but whatever. Actually, not too bad having a bunch of skeletons and Koatoas to fight. So this will be a nice bit of like, we need to kind of throw some weaker enemies at the players here. Because this whole section is just attrition. If I can copy all these numbers, that'll make it a lot easier for me. That one is not. All right. 2, 7, 3, 1. God damn it. Did I not? I did 1. Anybody else? All right. Start from there. 4, 6, 8, 5, 1, 2, 7, 3. Copy. Paste. All right. It's an 8-room dungeon. I guess pretty solid. What is this dungeon in terms of the story? What is my motivation? So this is the House of Knowledge, which is a temple of Ogma in Neverwinter. Importantly, in the story, it's a location of where an aboleth resides. Xar? God, I cannot fucking pronounce his name. I gotta determine how to say his fucking name. Zixaro is the name. And I really liked this in context with my story because the players, first of all, they're trying to figure out what the hell is so important that this ghost ship, which maybe is allied with these enemy forces, is moving in on Neverwinter deep into the city to basically go assassinate somebody. They still have no idea. They may think these ghost ship is going in to kill like the Lord of Neverwinter or some kind of noble, or going to find something specific. Like, what are they doing? And they'll go in here and figure out what they are doing is trying to assassinate an aboleth, which should confuse the hell out of the players. But with the aboleth, I can use a fun twist here, which I love doing in all my campaigns, which is turning a normally dangerous, hostile monster into a delightful NPC ally and quest giver. I love doing that. It's become like a trope of mine that I just adore. And in this case, it is an aboleth who has basically I don't think he's part of the aboleth sovereignty, right? I guess we can read about Xarxo specifically. Residing in the lower vaults of the aboleth Zixaro. Yeah, Slick Zoro. This creature hails from the far realm. It's made away to the material plane with the abolethic sovereignty. Aim is to open a gateway to the far realm, allowing their unimaginable ancestors in the material plane. In the short term, this involves corrupting important citizens and Neverwinter to access greater magic. In the past few decades, the sovereignty has been in decline. Conflicts with other societies have forced leaders of the Underdark, where they are better able to defend themselves. Xaro remains in Neverwinter to continue to observe the cities. Xaro, several agents, we forgot word, within Neverwinter, including Brother Atlevast and Mayor Somengalt. These two were, shout out to Tribal for remembering that. These two are manipulated by Xaro, promising them their desires using phantasmal force to mimic them when they return with information. Unfortunately for Xaro, its powerful telepathic influence Neverwinter has not gone unnoticed. When Zelix4 merged with Slarkrethel, these are all these names, the Elder Brain realized the potential threat Xaro could pose should it gain sway over Neverwinter and return the sovereignty to its former power. Because of this, the Kraken Society agents were told to pay Garander the Vile for his undead pirate mercenaries. This is a lot of story. They aim to attack the House of Knowledge and kill Xaro, thus eliminating a potential enemy of the colony of Zelix 4. So, that's a lot. Well, my best Antonio Banderas accent, I didn't try too hard, but literally my the one I played for the high level campaign that Chris ran, I did a little bit of a Hispanic accent for that one, which Banderas is definitely one of the classic accents out there, I think. So, Xaro in my campaign, I don't know if I even wanted to go into that powerful, that much of a backstory, but I like the idea of the enemy of my enemy is my friend here, and I think Xaro has his own cult, I guess, in Neverwinter. You know, he's got his agents. He's just trying to gain magic and power and just doing his aboleth thing. And he has learned, he keeps tabs on Slarkrethel, for example. I don't think Slarkrethel and the aboleth, I wonder what the relationship is between, like, the aboleths and the Kraken Society. I guess I don't actually know that. Because I was thinking maybe he's part of the Kraken Society. No, I guess aboleths would not be with the Krakens, right? I don't fucking know. I should know this. I guess it's whatever I decide to be. Is there any more information about aboleths? Does anybody know that information? I feel like there's some crossover. Yeah, I know they're like eldritch creatures. I don't know if there's just any... What is the relationship between an aboleth and a kraken? The important information, I guess, is that this Aboleth knows Slarkrethel. Something has happened to Slarkrethel. Something very powerful and dangerous. So maybe he's kept tabs on Slarkrethel, just like Slarkrethel's kept tabs on him. And he's like, and anyway, the fact that the Kraken is sending agents to assassinate him is just kind of that classic story of like, I've found out too much, and now the villains are coming to kill me. But it just turns out that that person, instead of being like, a hacker or whatever sidekick NPC or whatever surprise quest giver, is just this monstrous eldritch being. But that being is still like, we need to stop this alien threat that has infected Slarkrethel, and you group are the group that I think can do that. Or, basically, and just be kind of part of the main quest system is where I'm going for with this. I'll try to and describe everything a little bit better. This is still all in the storyboarding phase, I guess, but we definitely need to nail this down. But that's where I'm getting at, is I'm hoping the players, they should be shocked. They're like, wait a minute, we're coming to rescue a fucking Aboleth? And I think it's supposed to be kind of a best kept secret that the Aboleth actually like has infected and runs everything in this particular temple, and has just his own little corner of Neverwinter that he's in charge of. But he knows, and he's found out about Slarkrethel being infected and having this alien mind, and he can like, maybe sense it, or maybe there's some kind of psionic battle wits going on or something, to where he's like, yeah, they've, here's what you need to go and figure out where this threat is. There's Slarkrethel. You have to go and free his mind. You might not be strong enough to defeat a literal Kraken, but hopefully you can defeat the infection. I don't even know if I want to go so far as to explain like, yeah, he's an Elder Brain, it's crafted another Kraken. Maybe I don't need to explain that much of it, but we are getting to the point in the campaign where like they should start learning more about the main quest. There's no relationship in the book, yeah. It seems weird because there's a lot of crossover there. A Romeo and Juliet thing with, oh man, Zarxo, Slick. I already can't fucking say his name. Slick Zoro. As the spurned lover of Slarkrethel, like another cast off, another notch in the Kraken's. I don't know what a funny word for an octopus creature wearing a belt would be, but a tentacle armband thing. But yeah, the motivation is that literally these undead pirates were hired. In fact, the Kraken Society agents were told to pay Garander the Vile for his undead pirate mercenary. So there's a little bit of a breadcrumb thing, which I want to create after we do all this, right? Because that'll be part of the big surprise twist, is like, oh shit, okay, this Aboleth, I guess, knows information and can help us now that we just rescued this Aboleth, which also creates this kind of interesting dynamic between them. And I will definitely use Toral's specific relationship to like the Fathomless and all that to help foster that relationship. The big question, which I haven't nailed down yet, is their initial quest giver, the person they've been working for sort of through unmentioned money drops like freaking Dark Brotherhood and Skyrim style. Was Skyrim or is that Oblivion? I don't remember. That might have been Oblivion. Anyway, where they don't even know who they're actually working for. I could even reveal the twist that it's the Aboleth has been hiring them all along, because only the Aboleth has been able to know about what's going on and has like learned about like, oh shit, I think I know this and this and this, and I need to send some people to go investigate, but I only know the littlest bit of information, which is that it's something's going on in Saltmarsh where they're picking up supplies and all that. And then the big twist is, he's like, hey, the Aboleth's like, yeah, you've been working for me this whole time. So there, I've been paying you money through all my, agents I've got. And of course, he's got his own forces that are fully, I guess, enslaved, enthralled, because Aboleths are kind of nasty like that. Yeah, they can enslave people 3 times a day. Magically charmed by the Aboleth till the Aboleth dies or until it's on a different plane of existence from the target. It's just straight up magically charms them. Communicate telepathically to each other any distance, and the charmed target takes damage. Target can repeat the saving throw. Not more than once every 24 hours. Target can repeat the saving throw when it is at least 1 mile away from the aboleth. So they have a chance of getting out of it. Ultimately, I would love for Zixaro to also give the players the quest that leads to the Styes, which is a very cool adventure from Ghosts of Saltmarsh. And I think that would be very appropriate. And he can even tell them the latest thing I've learned is that they're building this organic weapon of mass destruction, which the Styes plotline, I believe, is that they're creating a Kraken, like another Kraken. In fact, yeah, you can see right here the stat block. We're looking at it in the Roll20 filters. Juvenile Kraken is what they end up fighting at the end of the Styes adventure, which is a CR14 badass boss fight. So I'm excited about using the aboleth, and I will probably go with the reveal that it's a big fucking shock that the aboleth was behind things all along, suckers. All right, we can't use most of these stats. We probably need to change. Oh, that's interesting. Token. Is that a unique one you've got there? What the hell token is that? Bartholomew Black Dagger. Do you have your own token? Is that what's going on here? Let's see. Creatures. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, that is not the same as that token, though, right? What the fuck is this? What the fuck is that token? Where did that even come from? Looks like an anime character with the hair and shit. He's got no mouth. Okay, why didn't you use this token? You've got a literal token. This is one of the few ones we've got tokens for, which is Bartholomew Black Dagger, which, yeah, he needs his own, excuse me. Choke on my words. It mentioned in the description that he has this like black blade, but that's not putting his stat block anywhere. Revenant's already pretty strong, and he would not be able to use his Vengeful Glare or tracking ability on the players. He would use it against the aboleth. But I do need to give him a weapon. All right, so we need to make this. We need to make all the things happening here on the other map, because this is the map we're actually going to use. So let's break it down. I guess we could do an outside area as well, because I think there's supposed to be guards on the outside. All right. House of Knowledge contains quarters with a dozen acolytes live and work here. Enormous library. Head of the church is Alerthia Cornalis. Alerthia Coronalis. Incredibly common individual action, slow and measured. At times, spirit so respond to most interests looking with the enormous library. Cannot aid characters in their divination. Can't explain all attempts to glimpse the future are met by dark, cold visions of gray slime, curling tentacles, and alien eyes. When are they talking to this person? There's not going to be a chance for chatting. This is going to be in the middle of a war. In the lower vaults of the temple. Okay, so this is specifically the lower vaults. Which are scarce visited by the priests. Lives Lore Master Atlavast, who is a priest enslaved and infected by Zixaro. Entombed in the lower vaults when the cataclysm occurred, sending him permanently insane. Corrupted in the years that passed by an aboleth. Over time, Atlas managed to flood the lower vaults, brought a super home for Zixaro, and the pirates arrived. And everyone, they head straight up the river to the House of Knowledge and raid the lower vaults. The attack consists of 40 skeletons, led by Captain Bartholomew Black Dagger, a white, and a sword wraith warrior. We can probably safely reduce the number of skeletons here. My captain is also named Bort. We're out of Bort license plates. Upper vault. So upper vaults is not this map, right? This is just the lower vaults, I think. Am I correct in assuming that? Even though the map says House of Knowledge, but I think this is supposed to be the lower vaults specifically. So upper vaults is not mapped. Beneath the temple proper is a sprawling network of chambers and corridors filled with libraries, studies, reading rooms, and shrines. Despite its labyrinthine layout, there are signs throughout every now and then a handful of acolytes with books scurried through the tunnels. I don't like the idea that it's just like a normal place until you get to the bottom and there's a war going on. There should be like dead bodies everywhere. Characters only access the libraries if they're escorted by an acolyte. Okay. None of this seems to assume the area is under attack. Right? Because then they go through the main entrance, or do they? I guess there is some back entrances. Does it talk about how the bad guys entered? Yeah, convince an acolyte to lead the way. None of that seems all very weird pacing wise. Because like the pirate ship would be parked outside. This area of the vaults clearly hasn't seen recent use. Everything is covered with a layer of dust. Lamps and illuminated chambers are unlit. Is it dark down here? That's interesting. Both the iron gate and oak door are locked and require a key to open. All acolytes have a key. The characters open the gate with successful DC. If Black Dagger's crew have arrived, the scene in the vaults is entirely different. The sound of screams fills the corridors. The undead crew chase down the acolytes. Small fires pepper the floor where lanterns have fallen and spilled their burning oil. The locked entrance to the lower vaults has been smashed to pieces. Okay, so that one paragraph is where we're going. So we can just montage them through the upper level then. They'll just go through. I can describe, a war zone as they make way to the lower vaults. We don't have to worry about any kind of other map situation going on. Need to block this area there. Okay, so we can still put a door there, I guess. It's just going to be an open door. Open. Okay, so antechamber. The bottom of an uneven stairs, an octagonal chamber lined with tapestries. The desk in each corner are 4 innately carved stone pillars support the arched ceiling. A briny stench emanates from the eastern passage. Do you mean the northern passage, or are you telling me that this is not flipped the right way? Because I could fucking flip this the right way. North should always be up. Does not say on this map. I don't have a compass. There's no compass on this map. Because my players and I are always going to assume cardinal directions are what they should be. Temperature has been defaced. Sticky slime. Each of the desks contains unlocked drawers, piles of parchment, almost ineligible scrawling. So this part's good. A man named Brother Adolescent has been corrupted by an aboleth. He writes of the new life awarded him by his masters. The elder brings beyond the stars. Pages of repeated phrases. The eldest return from the past the stars, and loathsomeness waits and dreams in the deep. I want to probably make it less, I don't know, creepy. I do want to tease that there's some bad things going on here, but I don't necessarily want to make Zixaro into just some horrifying eldritch being. I think I actually like the play that Zixaro has been in Neverwinter so long that he's like picked up on a lot of human, I don't know, thoughts and feelings, and he's a bit less of an alien, of an eldritch alien threat. You would be like the diplomat to humanity, or the liaison or something, because he's been around so long. The pirates have arrived here. There are 2 skeletons standing guard. Alright, I think, did I add regular ass skeletons in at some point? Yeah, I did. Not on the lighting layer, though. So I'm fine with throwing a few skeletons. Because pretty weak. And it's part of the undead crew. Oops. I don't know why it doesn't say 13 armor class. Okay. Statue stair, which is V2, is all the way to the north. Passage terminates at a spiraling stair, which leads down to a pool of murky water. So this is a tunnel, right? That you can't actually see around the tunnel. I think these are supposed to be... This is already here? This is not dynamic lighting. I don't know if this is supposed to be a bridge and it's open, or it's supposed to be a wall of a tunnel. It looks the same as all the other walls, so I'm assuming this is actually supposed to be a wall. This is not how the original Roll20 lighting person did it, though. Passage terminates a spiraling stair, which leads to... It only describes this room. It doesn't describe the tunnel right here. So I'm assuming... I'm gonna cut this off and assuming this is all... Because otherwise you could see over and you could see everything, and I don't want to reveal that too soon. So I think this is going to be locked. So we're going to go like that. And like that. And then if we need to, we can always move it, but I doubt we're going to need to go over here in the corner. Yeah. I think that's just an error on Roll20's part. This could be open, though. I could see that being open. Flowing room is difficult terrain. Ceiling and stairs. The stairs descend 50 feet to floor level. Really? 30 feet to water level. Jeez. That does not look like that big of a drop-off here. So it's 30 feet from the top of this to the water. Wow. That's the way the map art looks. Doesn't look like a big drop-off, but that's good to know. So that would actually take you a while to go down the stairs. Which is hard to mimic in combat if we're starting combat here, which I think we are. Statue, I guess that's this statue here. Fractured piece of the statue face lies strewn about the chamber. Or no, this is, I guess this is a statue face right here. Yeah, so this whole thing is a statue that's broken. Statue's Ogma. Character touches the statue, in otherworldly voice that says your gods will be overthrown in deep speech. Character hears them succeed a DC 18 con saver, take 3d6 psychic damage and be stunned. Jeez. The pirates have arrived. The Sword Wraith Warrior is here, ushering 3 skeletons to Area V3, so they can actually catch up, which I think players can see that far. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Ooh, it would be pretty close, depending on where I put them on the map. If they could actually... because that might determine which direction they go. Of course, there's going to be enemies probably everywhere. So, 1... also, I don't know why Roll20 does that sometimes. It literally goes all the way down. And a Sword Wraith Warrior. I don't think I've got a token for that yet. I do not. Sword Wraith Warrior is a CR3, Martial Fury, Longbow, Longsword, AC 16, 45 hit points. Jeez. Alright, so let's delete you and get a proper token. Sword Wraith Warrior. Is there 3 cool descriptive terms? Sword Wraith Commander. Sword Wraith Warrior from Mordenkainen's. Okay. Toggle's fine. Like show? Flooded Chamber is where Zixaro is, which is a cool looking map area too. It's just it's got this giant sight blocker here. I don't know how deep the water is supposed to be. I guess it said 20 feet, right? Because it was, at one point it was 30 feet. Yeah, salty water fills this room to a height of 20 feet. Which is a weird way of saying it's 20 feet deep, I guess. So I assume it's still 20 feet. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Open doorway in the northwest is a height of 20 feet with a 10-foot sailing down. 10 feet of open air at the top of the chamber. So if it's 20 feet deep, that's not difficult terrain. That's fucking swimming. You are swimming at that point. That is beyond deep end of the pool. That's like fucking lake. I mean, not the deep end of a lake, but a lake. It's pretty fucking deep. Oh yeah, and there it says tunnels. Both tunnels lead out of the chamber are submerged at ground level. Or no, those are these tunnels. Zixaro, the Aboleth layers in this chamber. Would rather manipulate the characters than fight them. Except none of that matters because it's the development section. The pirates have arrived. Bartholomew Blackdagger and 6 pirate skeletons are engaged in an underwater fight. Not skeleton pirates, pirate skeletons. Blackdagger and Zixaro have half their hit points remaining. The remains of skeletons float nearby. Oh, that's pretty cool. So it's assumed that the Aboleth actually killed most of the skeletons then. That's crazy. And this is the fun, like, situation I want to create, which is, like, they're rescuing an aboleth like mid-fight. I don't know if I want to make this many creatures though. 6 skeletons and Black Dagger. Holy crap. Holy crap. Let's see. That's under Zixaro, I assume. Zixaro. There you are. So beautiful. And Bartholomew, Black Dagger, the Revenant. There we go. There's your proper token. God, they both have a shit ton of hit points, though. My rule is normally to give bosses extra hit points, but again, I'm a little nervous about they're coming in here already vastly weakened. But the skeletons should all suck in the water, right? Well, let me think. I guess Short Sword might be okay. Yeah, I forget if underwater combat rules. They have their points remaining. I mean, they'll have a number of hit points remaining as I need them to. I really can't lose Xaro. Atlavas the Priest and 2 Koatoa Whips in area V7 join the combat in 2 rounds, as do 10 skeletons. Probably not going to do that, because that would be insane. How helpful can this Aboleth be during the fight? What is the Aboleth capable of? Tentacle attacks. So many tentacle attacks. There's my tentacles. That should be good stuff. God, we definitely want Twirl to be here for this. Disease doesn't really going to come into play here. Just going to be all tentacles and whips. And legendary actions. It can make Psychic Drain and Tail Swipes. So yeah, the Aboleth's pretty fucking strong. I just like, how many skeletons does it take to kill an Aboleth? It's got a +9 to hit, deals an average of 12 damage. And its tail attack also is a +9 hit, does an average of 15 damage. It can pretty much delete a skeleton almost with a single attack, and most likely will. So it kills 3 skeletons every round, but that on its turn, and then it can also make up to 3 tail swipe attacks, or a tail swipe and a psychic drain. And then obviously just do damage to Black Dagger. So yeah, I feel like Zixaro, that's the only thing they can do, right? Is you get the idea that they've... And so I will do that. We're going to put a shit ton of tokens on the map. And have it be a bunch of dead skeletons around here. And the idea is it just killed a shit ton of skeletons. Surrounded by bodies. And that's like, all they've got is the fact that it's just murdered a lot of skeletons. Is it all possible that's the reason you get Rochelle to come on and say hi? Probably. I mean, she might be asleep some of the times. I did get to see... Well, I think I talked about this. I saw both of them during Chris's surprise party. So I just saw them over the holidays, which was nice. It'll be really tricky to get the pacing right on this battle. Because if I play my cards right... in other words, I want the players to make a difference, but as soon as I start actually rolling for the Aboleth, like, they're going to be like, oh, this Aboleth's, like, destroying everything. But... yeah, still, though, they should be able to make a difference. Basically just as stopping the reinforcements from coming at him, and he'll be still very bloodied. So I should throw a skeleton up here in the DM zone in case I need to add more skeletons, but I can't imagine needing to add more skeletons. There's already going to be a lot of skeletons. Let's see. Sacred Library, back down here. Let's see. Illinois currently lit. There are 3 silver chandeliers hanging from the arch ceiling. So yeah, the whole area looks dark, which is kind of messed up. I guess the undead don't care. Wow, this place full of loot, though. DC 20 investigation check. Notice a false book. Removing it from the shelf reveals like, who is going to be searching on the bookshelf when there's a war going on. A small hole containing 3 potions of greater healing, a potion of clairvoyance, spirit, which, by the way, I did. I'm going to give them a shit ton of potions. which I teased at the end of last session. They're going to get their hands on a crate that said like fragile potions on there because I got to give them something. So no actual enemies here, just loot. So it probably won't motivate them to go down there because again, they'll be in like, oh shit, rescue mode or something. They might just think, oh, we need to go like help people. Like this place is being targeted for some reason. Let's see, I need to put more doors down because they still don't know. But I will be able to tell them through some context with Toril and him feeling, you know, some kind of psychic pull that something's going on here. There's supposed to be a door here. Now this looks like there's a gate up here. Did it actually explain? Let me go back to V3. Where's it? V2. Door. The door in the southeast corner is ajar, closing against the weight of the murky water. Okay, so you can actually... So there's a door here, but it is currently open. Okay. In fact, we might even put a skeleton down here to show that they're currently like just constant flood of skeletons. Door there. A door there. And then I'm not sure what's going on here, but we'll revisit that one. All right, so V back down to where we V5. Workshop, Kuotoa. Am I pronouncing that right? Kuotoa? In this room are attempting to clear the cave-in. The Kuotoa here traveled from the Underdark with Zigzaro, whom they worship as a deity. If they're attacked, they flee to Area V8. Well, why would they be doing that in the middle of the war? Surely they would not be, right? It does say Adavast and 2 whips in Area V7 join the combat in 2 rounds, as do 10 skeletons. What can be both? It's a jar door. So that feels... Maybe the cave-in was created when the enemies attacked? Cave-in blocking area 7 be cleared with a successful DC-20 strength check. We're spending 30 minutes working at it. The tunnel leading to area V8 is trapped with a collapsing roof. Yikes. V6 is just empty. Books have been moved here from area V3, so that's just an empty room. I guess we can leave the doors closed then. Yeah, so the enemies just made a beeline for the Aboleth, which kind of makes sense. They're not here to loot anything. So there are Kuotoa in this. I don't know if I want to keep that, though. They're just sitting in that room. This over here. Let's see. V8 was a collapsing roof, which is the Kuotoa chambers. 2 Kuotoa slumber in this chamber. The characters might choose to get involved in the fight in many ways. They might... So this is just the development for the whole thing. They might kill both the pirates and Zigzaro as well as its followers. They do their save, no matter not only from undead raiders, also from its future threat, the abolithic sovereignty. Also knowledge. Happy if the characters keep any magic item they discover in the lower vaults, attempt to restore it to its former glory. If the characters kill the pirates but spare Zigzaro and its followers, they might be able to make a deal with the abolithic sovereignty. Zigzaro offers the characters assistance, should be willing to join his network of spies. Zigzaro might ask for assistance of nobles, support of rebels, Neverwinter, or the nefarious deed. Helps out. Yeah, so this is where I'm going with. Zigzaro could accompany the characters to Askarl in the final assault. That'd be pretty crazy. But I could definitely see that going on. I feel like Zigzaro would be more of a, like, you know, Aboleth would, like, send out thralls and minions. Like, they're definitely, like, a commander-type villain. But, like, how often do you get to actually, like, hey, we're going to an underwater dungeon. You're an underwater eldritch creature. Maybe, and it's in your best interest to fucking help us. So, unfortunately, it doesn't give us an update on what the Kuotoa are doing here if there's a big attack going on. Because if they worship the Aboleth, and the Aboleth's, like, in danger, they would be, like, rushing their ass over there. And then V7, the tunnels. A winding maze of tunnels stretches before you. Constant dripping can be heard from above. The floor is covered with greasy slime, which squelches underfoot. Lore Master Atlavast, who is the enslaved priest, is waiting in the entrance to area V3. So up here. 4 Kuotoa Whip Patrol the tunnels, ensuring Atlavast isn't attacked by intruders. Tunnels are flooded to a height of 30 feet. Height difference between area V3 and V5 is 60 feet. So this tunnel goes down, down, down until it's the water, I guess. The cave-in blocking area 7 be clear with 6 D20 strength check. Pirates have arrived. 2 Koatoa Whips and Atlas join the combat, V3 in 2 rounds. I guess it's just weird timing. They just haven't quite gotten to the fight yet. It just gets really awkward if the players don't end up in the fight first, and then they just see these guys like waiting in the wings, ready to jump out and help the Aboleth. It makes more sense if there's fighting all over, and maybe the other guys, like the Koatoa Whips, are currently fighting the skeletons. Like there's a whole, like everything. There's just more of a dynamic battle going on, I guess. So I think that's what I'm going to change, is just everything has to be in service of this battle. It can't be a normal, like, exploring of the dungeon and, oh, what are you guys doing? Like, no, this dungeon is under attack by another entity of forces, and that means and everybody else in the dungeon is allied to the Aboleth. So if the Aboleth is in trouble, everybody would be trying to help the fucking Aboleth and not just chilling here. So that's what we need to change. Of course, we do not have Koatoa, is it whips and the regular ones and the priests. We're gonna have to make new tokens for all those. So we'll delete you. Yeah, and I realize you have to delete them first, or else it doesn't. I think the token part works unless I do a little bit extra work. This is easier. All right, so Koatoas. But that allows the players to possibly gain some allies, I guess, if they help these guys first versus go to the final boss. And if they don't, then that's how we can maybe balance the fight, is by having these extra allies of the Aboleth show up a little bit later and staggered. And I'm not going to tell them one way or the other in terms of where they need to go or how they want to go about this, but they can hear the sound of fighting. God, regular Koatoa are really weak. Like goblins. Sticky shield. Yeah, I do remember. I think Chris did use these with Aboleth also, with an Aboleth. All right, so there's some there. How many are supposed to be in V5? 4? I don't know if I want to do all 4. I might do like 3, and then they're like currently battling some skeletons. Where was the white? Did I miss where the white was? Where the white was? Right? Because it said he had the Revenant, a bunch of skeletons, the Wraith Warrior, and a white. Also, I feel like we need a unique token art for the Lore Master, the enslaved priest, who would also be very effective at like communicating for the Aboleth, like through his mind, as like a translator or something, even though the Aboleth can just talk psionically anywhere, telepathically, I guess. I don't see where the white was supposed to be. Yeah, Sword Wraith Warrior, 3 skeletons, 2 skeletons standing guard, Bartholomew Black Dagger, and 6 pirates. The priest, 2 whips with 10 skeletons, 4 Koatoa. And then 2 in the chain. Yeah, I think we forgot about the white. Does the white not come in here? I mean, we probably don't need him. We've got enough fucking dudes, but I think it's just weird that we're missing that one. Specifically said 40 skeletons, the white, and the Sword Wraith Warrior. Yes, that's exactly right. Anything alive is basically an ally here, which the players might be able to pick up on and realize, wait, there's no people in here. It's just fish. There's nothing but fish people in here. Well, fish people need help too. Boy, Koatoa whips. Way stronger. 65 hit points and multi-attack. And they can cast some shitty spells. That would be a hell of a reinforcements have arrived thing. It's these 2 and then the priest. Yes, that's very true. The Sahuagin were, as Demnix is reminding me, the Sahuagin are alive, whereas the pirate captain who gave him the wizard book was dead. So now it's the opposite. The opposite situation, which is now the dead are the enemies and the living creatures are your allies. Please get it right. What's funny, if it were a video game like Baldur's Gate, you could see like, oh, look, the Koatoa are highlighted in yellow. Like they're not enemies of us, whereas all the undead are enemies. And I have to make that more I think it's okay to make that more obvious here. But I think I can do that also because we've established there's a rapport with Toril having a psychic connection to his Fathomless. I think I'm leaning towards the Fathomless being the Kraken, but the Aboleth has obviously sensed, the Kraken is in trouble, and I think we even teased that at one point at the end of another session that he was missing from, where he had like a dream that I specifically was teasing the fact that the Aboleth was like saving him from being like psychically infected by the Elder Brain Slarkarthel. So I can hopefully be pulling Toril, and then Toril to the others can be like, oh, somebody here needs our help. And then hopefully when he recognizes the fish people, we can kind of make it more obvious that way. How the turntables. I agree. Yeah, but I like the idea of, like, for example, putting skeleton, like, just have them, like, like tease this one running down here and then hearing the sounds of battle, for example. That's actually not a bad idea. And then, you can be having a couple skeletons fighting these Koatoa, which talk about crap fighting crap in terms of fear stats. Maybe we'll reduce the number of Koatoa to like these 3 right here, and then the bigger ones will be up here. Maybe they're fighting off, some more skeletons. I don't know. We'll just create a huge war zone basically here. The players can mope around here and try to grab a few pieces of loot if they want to, but everything else is happening up here. And depending on, and they literally every Koatoa thing they save, person, creature, fish dude, could be a future ally to help them in this crazy big battle, which we could even be montaging some of, depending on what state the players are in. I don't know. Obviously I want them to have some cool cinematic moments with the Aboleth, but I'm worried that if I actually have the Aboleth start rolling literal attacks, they'll just be like, wait a minute, you could have done this just fine, Xixara. You're fucking killing everybody. But just that there's hordes of skeletons, I guess, pouring in, and it'll just be a big... I don't want it to be a big slog, I guess. Hopefully more fun than anything. But so it's interesting. It's a dungeon crawl, but also not a dungeon crawl, right? It's technically a dungeon, but we're not really crawling through it like normal. Instead, it's unique. It's there is a war going on. They don't quite know what's going on when they get there. They'll have to figure that out. So I guess the very beginning of it will be kind of exploratory, but very quickly they'll discover, oh yeah, this place is being attacked, invaded. We're trying to figure out why, and then depending on where they go and what they do, they'll figure it out pretty quick from there. All right, I think that is going to do it for this Monday edition of Crafting the Deep. If you enjoy the content, consider supporting me via patreon.com/Rogue Watson. Shout out to Platinum patrons Joe, Will, Thomas, Dan, Brandon, Zendercider, Eclectic, Roll, Christopher, Corey, Big Nut, John F, John L, Scott, Eric, Tyler, Nathan, Camp Crystal, Counselor, Andrew, Daryl, The Reldron, Captain Woody 79, Stephanie, Andy, Patrick, Jason, Ismail, Amit, Lumpy Spuds, and gold patrons RPG Paper Crafts, Pretty Boy, and Yuma, Dead Lizard Lounge, Sam, Jerome, Nathan, Fast Like a Tortoise, Scott, Rufus, Karen, Carolyn, Jerry, Thomas, and Glenn. Thank you all very much for your support. I will see you with another crafting session on Thursday. Have a good one.